If you've ever tried cold email, you know there are a million tools out there. Everyone has a favorite, everyone has an affiliate link. And most of the lists you see are bloated with apps that are just nice to haves and not must haves. But after sending over 200,000 cold emails per month, every single month, booking thousands of calls, and generating millions in pipeline for clients, I can tell you the tool stacks that actually work. The simplest tool stack you'll need to get started, as well as the more advanced tool stacks if you really want to maximize the results you get. But in reality, all you need is 5 simple tools to run an effective outbound operation, and that's it. So if you want to know exactly what we use and why with 0 affiliate links, I'm going to give you the full breakdown. So I actually wrote a LinkedIn post that covers exactly this topic. Now I'm going to go over both the starter campaign and a scaled campaign. You might see a bunch of tools here and it might look really scary and complicated, but trust me, most of these tools are really easy to use. So the first thing you want to do with any cold email campaign is to set up domains, right? So you never want to use your primary email domain, you always want to use lookalike domains, and I always recommend using this tool called Porkbun. It's one of the cheaper places to buy domains, but more importantly, you can use it to buy domains in bulk. So to run a campaign, we buy hundreds of lookalike domains at times, and we do this to protect the reputation of your primary domain when you send. Now, why do we want to use something like Porkbun? It's pretty simple. So with Porkbun, you have this function called bulk search. And this is a key function, so let's say you're trying to buy 100 different domains. Rather than trying to find the domain idea and typing it one by one, what you want to do is you want to just use ChatGPT to give you a bunch of different domain ideas that are similar to your primary domain. So for us, our primary domain is outliergtm.com, you can see this here. But rather than trying to find like 100 domain variations, just like manually typing things in, you want to use Porkbun because you can easily bulk search just like different ideas. So just like get ChatGPT to give you some ideas for variations of like your primary email domain, just copy and paste it in from ChatGPT, do something like a bulk search. And I'm only doing 3 as an example, and I've already bought a lot of things. But by doing this, you can put in like 100 different domain ideas and then just add to cart the ones that are actually available. So this is the first step of any outbound campaign, is to buy lookalike domain. Depending on the volume of emails you want to send, you can buy as few as 5 domains if you want to send just, a couple hundred emails per day, or you can buy 50 if you want to send 1,000 per day and have good deliverability. So the choice is going to be yours. The cost will be around $11 per .com domain. Now, the next step is to set up Gmail inboxes. You can do Gmail, you can do Microsoft. We recommend Gmail for almost anyone who's first starting out. And the number of emails you want to set up depends again on how much volume you want to send. Now, this is where most people get it wrong. People go to Google, they see the pricing from a Google workspace, and they think they need to spend $7 per month per user, or maybe even $14 per month per user. And then they'll try and set up a bunch of Gmail accounts manually. This is a complete waste of time. Instead, what you should do is you should use an email vendor like, let's say, Scaled Mail. They're a third-party vendor. Not only are they cheaper than Google while still using Google inboxes, they're going to basically set up the emails for you. So you follow the instructions, connect your domains to it, and it'll save you a ton of time and money. Now, again, I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. I use Scaled Mail. They're pretty good. But I've also used tools like Zapmail and Premium Inbox. If you're just getting started with cold email, just pick one tool. We oftentimes do multiple tools to diversify the risk because some vendors set up emails in a different way. So we like to use a bunch of different vendors to get the best deliverability, but make things simple for yourself if you're just starting out. Just use one vendor like Scaled Mail. Okay, now at this stage, you have emails and you have domains both set up. The next thing you need to do is you need to warm up emails and connect them to an email sequencer. You obviously don't want to send emails manually. If you want to send 1,000 emails manually, you go crazy. So what you want to use is an email sequencer which automates sending process. Now, most beginners will use something like SmartLead or Instantly, which is $39 per month. I'm not going to go over a full guide on how to use these sequencers because they're extremely self-explanatory. Instead, we personally use a tool called Email Bison, which costs around $600 per month. If you're starting your first email campaign, don't use Email Bison, use SmartLead. And again, there's no direct guide is needed. They're extremely straightforward, but I'll show you Email Bison. What's going to happen is, you might use a vendor like Scaled Mail. As you set up the process, Scaled Mail asks to connect it to your email sequencer. They're going to connect it for you. It's really easy to connect it yourself. It's just very manual, takes a lot of time. So this is another reason why you want to use a third-party vendor. They're just going to connect all the email accounts to your sequencer. And this sequencer is what we use to send thousands of emails per day. We also warm up emails through this, and email warm up, I'm not going to go over in great detail in this video. Just know that when an email is new, it has no domain reputation. And then a good email sequencer is going to essentially send emails to make it seem as though your email account has a lot of activity that's non-cold email, and it'll help it deliver better. So basically any email sequencer will work here. We like Email Bison because we find it delivers better and they have more flexibility when it comes to what you can do with their API, but really don't overthink it. So these first 3 steps, don't overthink it. You might see there are 2 different tools I can use. Really don't overthink it. Pick the one that fits your price point. By the way, if you're watching this video and you realize you'd rather someone else do this for you, that's exactly what we do. We build out the infrastructure, source the leads, use the best possible tools in our arsenal, even more than what we cover in this video. Write the email copy and run the full campaign end to end. The link's in the description if you want to see what this looks like. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to decide which type of lead source you want to use. Now, this is a part that actually has more differences when it comes to what type of lead tool you want to use. If you are a complete beginner, Apollo is sort of seen as the gold standard, and I don't necessarily think it's the best, but if you use Apollo, you're going to be using one of the most widely used cold email tools, so I would probably start there for most people. And what you want to do with Apollo is you essentially use it to search for leads and you use it to search for companies. I'm actually going to show you AI Arc really quickly because I like AI Arc better. My team personally uses Apollo more. So again, I have no affiliation. What I like to use is actually different from what my team likes to use. But with something like AI Arc, all you want to do, it's a tool that provides emails for you. And you want to, depending what your customer ICP is, you can search for prospects at a company level based on whatever criteria you think it's necessary. Or you can search for people at the people level. Now, this process of searching for ICP through a lead tool is one of the most important parts with a cold email campaign. And it matters less what tool you use. If you use any major tool, it's going to work. It's going to be more about how well are you going to filter your ICP. You know, many people do bad filtering. So if you have a very expensive product and you filter it such that you're targeting very early stage companies, you know, you're going to get a bad result when it comes to cold emailing, and that's going to be independent of the tool. So what I'd say is like all cold email tools work, but you need to use your own skill to get the right filtering and target exactly your ICP. In terms of the price you can expect, so Apollo could be $60 per month, around 2,000 leads. And then there are other tools like AI Arc, which I prefer, which is actually cheaper, but we tend to use internally is we use multiple tools to get the best possible market coverage. If you're first starting out and you're watching this video on what tools to use, you know, that probably doesn't apply to you. Any tool will have enough market coverage for you most likely, at least when you first begin. And then lastly, there's this very, very important step called email verification. So one tool that we use is called Million Verifier. There's also other ones called Bounce Band. Again, when you're first starting out, don't overthink it. And why do you need to use this? So for a tool like Apollo, it oftentimes guesses people's email. So you're going to use Apollo, you're going to scrape a list of, let's say, 10,000 contacts. What's going to happen is actually from those 10,000 emails, maybe 3,000 of them will be bad emails and they'll actually bounce and not work. And that's really, really bad. So if you're sending emails, you're bouncing at a rate of 30%, Google will definitely blacklist your account because they'll be like, what's going on? Why are you just guessing people's emails? You're obviously like a high volume spammer. So you have to use a tool like Million Verify in order to sort of solve this. And it's really, really simple. So after you download your leads from something like Apollo, you can go on to Million Verifier, basically upload a file, and then it will show you the percentage of how good a list is. So you can see some of the data sets my team uploaded. You can see there are good emails, risky, bad emails. If you want to deliver really well, you might want to avoid sending to all the risky emails and bad emails for it. So this is a really critical step if you're using something like Apollo. A tool like AI Arc does inbuilt verification, so it's not needed, but 9 times out of 10, most people follow this starter workflow when they first begin. So if we're talking about the starter campaign, let's just pause here. This will probably get you a couple hundred, low 100 emails sent per day. This will be strong enough for that. And if everything's set up correctly, you might get maybe 1 to 4 calls per month. So with scaled campaigns, what we actually do is we focus even more on deliverability than starter campaigns. So even though we set up 25 domains, we're actually using 25 at a given time and have always 25 in backup. And we're always rotating the domains we send from to maximize deliverability. But with a scaled campaign, you can essentially expect around 5 to 10x the results or 10 to 40 calls per month. You'll actually deliver better with the scaled campaign, even sending 5x volume. You might set up 10 times more infrastructure. You might send 5x volume, but your results will still be 10x higher. And then once you're done verifying the emails, what you want to do is you just want to go through any email sequencer that you use. You can create a new campaign, upload the leads into them, and then start sending. Pretty straightforward process. Now for the scaled campaign, one optional step you can do is you can use a tool called Clay. And Clay is a lead enrichment tool. It's really bad at being the primary source for finding emails, honestly, but it's good at taking emails that you already have and then enriching them with data. Now you can look at these 5 tools, set them up yourself, and begin sending. It works, but there's a difference between knowing what tools to use and actually getting results. You need to put them together and have the right campaign strategy to actually book calls. If you want to see the full tactical process of how we build lists, write email scripts, use AI enrichment, and get replies, I put together a complete course on how to actually do this. Click on this video and I'll show you the entire playbook. I'll see you in the next one.